Just wanted to do a follow-up post after I did the post on ghillie suits and some fundamentals of camouflage, and I wanted to talk over like some really basic packing list stuff for doing simple reconnaissance. This isn't a complete list. I'm just kind of brushing over wave top some of this, so bear with me. But first, I wanted to go into, since you couldn't see it really well when I did my last ghillie suit video, when I talked about using natural materials versus synthetic materials, put your ghillie suit together. So you can tell here, this hand is the natural material and this hand is the synthetic. And what I pointed out on the last video is that synthetic materials, they have a little bit of a sheen on it. So you want to get rid of that if you're using it on your ghillie. So either get it good and dirty or just hit it with some spray paint, with some drab color spray paint, and take that shine away. Because like I said, man-made things shine, natural things don't so much. But yeah, this is a natural jute fiber, this is a synthetic. So I just wanted to point out the differences between those. So, basic packing list for reconnaissance kind of stuff. It's all about what you're going out there to do, right? You're going out there to capture information. So, really simple. You want to have stuff to write with, stuff to take notes, sheets of paper. You want to make sure that your writing devices, they are a color that if you're writing under night vision or under red light, you can see it. So keep that in mind. For sketch and note-taking material, I really like graph paper. Obviously, if you're going to use a scale, graph paper makes it a lot easier for you. I like taking notes better on graph paper. You can buy a full-size graph paper notebook and just chop that notebook into half or into thirds, leaving the binding intact, and you have just a bunch of little mini notebooks. And then additional notes, having your dope cards for whatever weapon system you're carrying. I suggest having them in a bunch of different places. Usually we used a ballistic kestrel that had our dope information in there, but electronics fail, so always have a backup to your electronics, which is going to be your paper dope card. Have those stashed everywhere. Next, going into more of our camouflage with the ghillie suit, the way we talked last time, right? The ratio is 70-30, so you want 70% natural vegetation on your ghillie and 30% artificial. So the base of your ghillie, while important, light in color so you don't silhouette and to match the most backgrounds. The other part with it being light in color, it makes it harder for the eye to pick up if your eye is looking at objects like in a wooded area. The light spots in between those objects, your eye isn't drawn to nearly as much as really dark spots like in between trees and things. You can even do it, you can try it if you just squint your eyes either in your house or outside. As the picture gets blurry as you're squinting, the dark objects you definitely see them, whereas the lighter color objects just kind of blur. Just a simple test to prove of concept there. All right, so 70-30, so 70% natural vegetation, right? Well, that's where having means of attachment to put things in your ghillie suit come in. Just simple hair ties, always had them with me. These don't break as easily as rubber bands. Just bear in mind that black is a color that's easier to identify than a natural color or like a lighter color. And then just regular rubber bands, just from whatever your stationery stores or whatever. Rubber bands, have a whole bunch of them. I also mentioned pipe cleaners last time to put on things like the legs of your tripod. You can wrap and twist your pipe cleaner on there just like you would a twist tie on a bag of bread, and then feed your veg up through and pipe cleaner it on there, so then you can basically have a whole tree set of vegetation on your tripod. Now, harvesting vegetation. This should absolutely be in your recon pack if you're gonna do like ghillie type stuff. Just a simple pair of these are rusty, clip shears here. Have that with you. And then I have my Gerber sliding saw here. Just within the survival world, it's always good to have multiple forms of cutting devices because there's countless things you do with your cutting devices in the survival aspect. However, as opposed to something like an axe, if you're trying to do something like recce, this is quiet. You can sit and saw this. I've cut, what is that, about 12 inches? Like 12-inch trees down with this saw, and it's fairly quiet. So you can take larger vegetation down to use on your ghillie, and having larger, girthier vegetation is good because new, thin vegetation dies quickly. If you take it out in the woods, chop off a really thin branch and throw it on the ground versus chop off a large branch and toss that on the ground, the thin branch is going to wilt a lot more quickly. It's going to change color. It's going to change shape. And that's going to be something that someone who's looking for you, a counter sniper, is going to notice, that kind of stuff, that There's a whole bunch of natural looking vegetation. There's a bunch of wilted vegetation. Well, that's you as the ghillie monster trying to hide. So having heavier vegetation will look fresh, stay fresh longer, and have ways to harvest it without making a lot of noise. Last thing, some simple like hide site type materials to bring out there with you. Again, this is all going to depend on how much weight you can physically carry and how much room you have. I've seen guys go out with, something like those telescoping tent poles, flexible tent poles, PVC piping to erect like a frame, and drape things like chicken wire over it. So if you're going to dig a hide site, you'd lay your dirt and debris over the chicken wire and the frame and cover that. There's things as simple just as like your netting here. So this is just a chest rig that I've used in the past. This is just not mossy oak. I forget maybe the pattern of what this netting is, but really simply, just really lightweight, very thin netting. You can still kind of see through there, but you look, when I toss that over my chest rig, it pretty much obscures most of the lines on my chest rig. So that's just something really simple, a piece of netting to bring out there. And again, because it's synthetic, if it's shiny coming out of the bag or the box, just hit it with some spray paint, take that shine off there. But yeah, this netting, super cheap. You can have a whole bunch of it. It's really easy to drape over things like equipment, or as you see here, like one layer is pretty see-through, but as I start folding it into multiple layers, it gets harder and harder to see through. So you can fold that as you need to and really black out whatever's behind it that you're trying to obfuscate. And then put my rifle into the frame here. Some more netting and things. Alright, so I got my rifle set up here, and just a really simple piece of camo netting to drape over the glass. Like you said, almost see-through. However, you can get this on the front. You get your little band, my little hair band around the scope there. So I just feed my piece of netting over this, and what this is doing, it's taking some of that glare off the front of your glass. If someone's looking for you and they're in line with you, they're looking right back at that glass, and glass can be something that's shiny. If you have material that's thicker than this, or if this is like folded over a whole bunch, so if it was a lot thicker like that, what you do is cut like a tiny pinhole in there, and you'd be surprised that because this is, that tiny pinhole would be so close up to the glass. I'll just actually and show you that you can't even see the glass that's in there, so you just put a tiny hole in there and you can see throughout the whole thing, but that glass isn't going to shine. In the same way, just breaking up the lines, simple piece of camo net. You're breaking up the lines of the of your turrets, of other sharp lines. Like I said, you want to get rid of those outlines and silhouettes and things. Also, cool little tip here if you're using a tripod. You have the rear leg, the single leg, back near you. So when this is clamped in here, and you're trying to get set up on a target, and you're like, I'm too high or I'm too low, what you can do is slide this leg in and out, and that's moving your elevation. So just something real easy, but it's something that I do. It's something easy to consider. Last thing we'll do here, just one more for urban hide sites. So if you see behind me, I have my piece of, that's actually landscaping felt. It's just black felt over here, and I'll show you. It's just this stuff right here. Like I said, you can see the sun hitting it from the outside, and it's kind of reflective, so not great. But the point of this is throwing up something in front of you, as the sun's coming at you. Like I said, that's just in front of my sliding door there. Let me take you out of there so that you can see that I can still see through it. Give me 1 second here. All right. See, looking through the felt, and like I said, that's obfuscating someone looking in. It's just going to look dark in here. However, now it's a little tough to tell, but that is a stairwell and a piece of fence. There we go, it's a little clearer. Man, sorry guys, I'm bad at this. There we go. That's fence post on a porch. So being, I can see through that to shoot through it if I need to. Otherwise, the important thing is it's obfuscating me from the outside. And actually, let me, I'll take you out there so you can take a look. There's my little setup. There's my tripod. There's my piece of landscaping felt. Front of the sliding glass door. Take a walk outside here. See if my dogs are going to get in the way so you'll be able to see them underneath the felt, but you'll get the idea. So there's a little piece of shadow on there, but yeah, I'm maybe 15 meters away right now. And there's my door. So yeah, tough to tell from here, but that's the point. But again, it just looks dark in there. You can't see anything. You see my little Yorkie dog there on the bottom. She's in front of the netting, so she doesn't count. So walking back up to here. Yep, there's my little pup. But even then, right from here, yep, there's my shepherd. Otherwise, just a reflection from outside because it's light outside and dark inside, and that's the point. You can't see inside, and with that piece of felt, like I said, you can be standing right behind that sucker. Even from up on the window, the glare is so good. Yeah, you got to get right up on it to really see that piece of felt now. Pop inside here. Whoop, look at that. There's the hide site. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Some more things like kind of like packing list kind of stuff to do reconnaissance and ways to keep yourself camouflaged, things to bring with you to hide site. Hope this helps. Peace, guys. Stay safe.